If you've got acorns everywhere and you're thinking, great, it's going to be an awesome season, think again. Studies actually show that hunter success plummets when it's a good acorn season. And we're going to break down in this video why that happens and what you can do to put yourself in the best position to succeed. First, let's understand what deer are doing when there's big acorn crops. Typically, when there aren't acorns, the deer are bedded into their cover and they have to travel long distances sometimes in order to get to the major food sources. And when doing that, that gives you the opportunity to get in between them and their food source and hunt more on the edges of woods. Well, when there's a lot of acorns, the deer don't have to travel that far. They're going to bed themselves back into the cover. The acorns are going to be right there, easy access for them, and they're going to get themselves in a spot where they've got cover, water, and acorns, and they might not have to move a whole lot. And to complicate things even further, the deer aren't really congregating around a large source because there's acorns everywhere. So they've got these little pockets of deer doing this across all the woods, and it makes it really hard to understand what deer are going to hit at any given point in time. You can't just get yourself on acorns and expect to see deer because they might not be hitting that little patch of acorns that you're hunting. How do you know this is going to happen? The easiest way is to get back into the woods early in the season and scout for acorns. But there's a really good indicator that's told us most of the time, and that's when we've got our trail cameras set up on big food sources early in the season, like bean fields. The deer don't seem to hit them that much. Our little micro food plots that are red hot, all of a sudden they're getting hit every once in a while. That's a really good indicator that you've got a lot of acorns, and you got to then figure out where those deer are hitting those acorns in order to have success. Typically, especially early season, your strategy is to hunt from the outside in. You want to get only as deep as you have to in order to get on the deer. The problem on big acorn years is that the deer are eating their acorns from the inside out. What that means is that those deer are in the acorns closest to where they have water and cover, and they're going to eat all of those acorns first before they start to move out. So you've got to get tighter and tighter and tighter to those deer in order to have success. And if you're hunting outside in, you may not ever run into the deer because the deer might not ever make it out to you in these really big acorn years because they've got so many available to them. So how do you then combat that and get yourself in a position to succeed? The very first thing is you got to understand where deer are bedded. And based off of where the deer are bedded, then you got to find the acorns that are closest to where those beds are. One of the ways that you can tell that you're getting hot is early season, you'll start to see scrapes open up where there are higher concentrations of deer. So if you start moving in and moving around and you start to see, fresh scrapes earlier on in the season, that's a pretty good indicator that you're getting to the point where you're getting close to where those deer are congregating. And that's a great spot to set up a trail camera on that scrape to try to understand the timing of which those deer are hitting that scrape and how close you are to their bedding. You can also set up your trail cameras in these different pockets of acorns to try to figure out which ones are being hit the most. When you pull your trail cameras, then you just start to concentrate your efforts on those acorn patches that have the most activity at any given point in time, and just put a note in the back of your mind of these other spots that are heavy acorns that aren't really getting hit, because those might become red hot later in the year as those deer start to move out. So based on all this, you got to then figure out how are you going to approach the hunt. Here's how we approach these hunts. What we do is we find those acorns that are closest to the bed and have trail camera pictures confirming that the deer are hitting those sources. And then what we try to do is we try to sneak in as close as we can to the acorns, and we try to set up on the downwind side of those acorns so you're downwind of both the acorns and the bedding area. And that is how you start to set up your outside in strategy. You start there on the outside of the food source, downwind of that to see what's showing up. And if deer are hitting that, or you're starting to get trail camera pictures later at night, those deer might be bedded a little further away, and then you can try to position yourself on the route from their bedding to the acorns in order to try to intercept them. As you can imagine, it's incredibly difficult to do this successfully. You got to be careful, you got to sneak in, but you've got to find your spot where you can start to establish where you want to hunt outside in based off of where you think those deer are bedded, taking calculated risks to get in close to the food without bumping those deer off beds. And then you start to make your adjustments. But you have to be aggressive when there's a lot of acorns to try to get into these spots. Well, the next time there's a bunch of acorns in the area, I hope that this video helps you to have success. Leave us a comment below of any questions that you have. We always answer. Hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell to be notified of new videos, and make sure that you click right here to watch more of our videos. Thanks for watching.